The winner is Robert De Niro, The Raging Bull.
For decades, Robert De Niro has represented something rare in Hollywood. Not simply fame, not simply success, but credibility. He became the kind of actor whose name could make a movie feel important before audiences even saw it. He played criminals, boxers, gangsters, doc cops, psychologically broken men, fathers, comedians, and sometimes characters who barely needed to speak at all. But De Niro's story is bigger than the characters he played. It is the story of an actor who helped redefine American cinema, then spent decades trying to prove that a legend doesn't have to remain trapped in the past. The boy from New York, Robert De Niro, was born in New York City in 1943. He grew up surrounded by art and performance, and as a young man, he became increasingly interested in acting. But De Niro wasn't interested in becoming a conventional movie star. He wanted transformation. He wanted to disappear into characters, and that obsession would eventually change his career. His early work brought him into contact with filmmakers who recognized something unusual in him. One of them was Martin Scorsese. That partnership would become one of the most important actor-director relationships in American film history. When Scorsese found De Niro in 1973, De Niro appeared in Mean Streets, directed by Scorsese. It wasn't a traditional Hollywood breakthrough. It was something more important. It revealed an actor capable of creating characters who felt dangerous, unpredictable, and completely alive. Then came the Godfather Part II. De Niro played the young Vito Corleone, the character originally made famous by Marlon Brando. It was an enormous challenge. He had to portray a younger version of one of cinema's most recognizable characters. While speaking largely in Italian, the performance changed everything. At the Academy Awards, De Niro won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. He had officially entered Hollywood's highest level, but he was only getting started, becoming Travis Bickle. Then came Taxi Driver. De Niro played Travis Bickle, a lonely Vietnam veteran, working as a New York taxi driver. The character was disturbing, alienated, obsessive, and increasingly disconnected from reality. De Niro didn't play Travis like a traditional villain. That was what made the performance so unsettling. He made the audience feel the character's isolation. And suddenly, Robert De Niro wasn't simply a talented young actor. He had become one of the defining performers of his generation. Taxi Driver earned 4 Academy Award nominations, including a Best Actor nomination for De Niro. But his most demanding performance was still ahead, The Fighter Who Destroyed Himself in 1980. De Niro transformed himself for Raging Bull. He played Jake LaMotta, the troubled professional boxer, whose life was marked by violence, jealousy, insecurity, and self-destruction. The transformation became legendary. De Niro gained substantial weight to portray LaMotta later in life, but the physical transformation was only part of the performance. He captured the character's rage, his paranoia, his loneliness, his inability to control himself, and once again, the Academy recognized him. De Niro won the Best Actor Oscar for Raging Bull. By then, something had become clear. Robert De Niro wasn't chasing celebrity. He was building a legacy. The Golden Age. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, De Niro continued appearing in major films. The Deer Hunter, Raging Bull, Once Upon a Time in America, The Untouchables, and more. His performances often carried the same intensity, even when the characters were completely different. Audiences knew they were watching someone who took acting seriously. De Niro became associated with preparation, transformation, and psychological depth. But Hollywood doesn't remain the same forever. Neither does an actor's career. When the image changed, by the 1990s, De Niro began showing another side of himself. He could still play serious dramatic roles, but he also discovered that his intimidating screen presence could become incredibly effective in comedy. Films such as Analyze This and Meet the Parents revealed a different Robert De Niro. The same face that once terrified audiences could now make them laugh. The same actor who had played Travis Bickle could play an overprotective father. For some viewers, this was surprising. For others, it was proof of his range. But there was a downside. As De Niro appeared in more mainstream comedies and commercial films, some critics began questioning whether the actor responsible for Taxi Driver and Raging Bull was taking too many roles that were beneath his legendary reputation. The conversation around De Niro began to change. The question was no longer, is he one of the greatest actors alive? That had largely been established. The question became, what does a great actor do after he has already achieved almost everything? The legend enters a new era. De Niro never completely disappeared. Instead, he adapted. He continued working with major directors. He appeared in comedies. He returned to crime dramas. He worked with younger actors. And he increasingly became something Hollywood rarely allows its older stars to become. A bridge between generations. Younger audiences knew him from Meet the Parents. Older audiences remembered Taxi Driver. Film lovers remembered Raging Bull, and fans of crime cinema remembered his collaborations with Scorsese. His career had become too large to fit into one genre. The Irishman. Then came another major chapter. The Irishman brought De Niro back together with Martin Scorsese. The film also reunited him with Al Pacino and Joe Pesci. It was more than another gangster movie. It felt like a reflection on aging, memory, loyalty, regret, and mortality. De Niro played Frank Sheeran, a man looking back on a life shaped by violence and organized crime. The performance earned him another Academy Award nomination as a producer when the film was nominated for Best Picture, while De Niro's long history with the Academy continued with later recognition for Killers of the Flower Moon. And once again, De Niro demonstrated something important. He wasn't trying to recreate the actor he had been in 1975. He was showing what that actor looked like decades later. Older, quieter, more restrained, but still capable of creating tension with a single expression. The actor who refused to disappear. That may be the most remarkable part of Robert De Niro's career. He didn't remain famous simply because of nostalgia. He kept working, he kept changing, and he kept finding new ways to use the qualities that made him famous in the first place. The intensity remained. The discipline remained. The ability to make audiences uncomfortable remained, but the career evolved. From serious drama, to crime films, to comedy, to prestige television and modern cinema, De Niro continued adapting to a Hollywood that was constantly changing around him. More than a gangster, for decades, Robert De Niro was often reduced to one image: the gangster, the dangerous man, the intimidating stare, the New York tough guy. But that image only tells part of the story. He played Jake LaMotta, Vito Corleone, Travis Bickle, Max Cady, Rupert, Pupkin, and countless other characters. Some were violent, some were funny, some were tragic, some were deeply flawed. That variety is precisely why De Niro's career has lasted so long. He didn't become famous because he played one character well. He became famous because audiences believed he could become almost anyone. The legacy, Robert De Niro's career, cannot be measured only by box office numbers. It can be measured by influence, by the filmmakers who wanted to work with him, by the actors who studied his performances, by the characters audiences still remember decades later, and by the fact that his name remains recognizable to people who grew up generations after his greatest films were released. The Academy's record reflects the extraordinary span of that career: 2 acting wins, multiple acting nominations across 5 decades, and a Best Picture nomination as a producer for The Irishman. But perhaps the most important achievement is simpler. Robert De Niro never allowed Hollywood to define him permanently. When people expected drama, he tried comedy. When audiences expected the old De Niro, he showed them something different. And when age could have forced him into retirement, he kept working. The final chapter hasn't been written. Robert De Niro has spent more than half a century in front of the camera. He has watched Hollywood transform from the era of the new Hollywood filmmakers to the modern franchise era. He has seen audiences change, technology change, movie stars change, and yet his name remains. That is not an accident. It is the result of decades of reinvention. Robert De Niro didn't simply become a Hollywood legend. He survived long enough to become something even rarer. A legend who kept evolving. The young actor from New York became Vito Corleone, then Travis Bickle, then Jake LaMotta, then an unlikely comedy star, then an elder statesman of American cinema. And after all those years, Robert De Niro is still working, still appearing on screen, still challenging expectations, still reminding audiences why his performances became legendary in the first place. Because some actors become stars, some become icons, and a very small number become part of the language of cinema itself. Robert De Niro belongs to that final group, and his story is far from over.